So when you decide to either start to do billing work on the side as a contractor or open your own medical billing business, and this is whether you have years and years of experience or you are fairly new to billing, I always recommend for you to start off a little slow and then pick up when it comes to services that you want to offer to your providers or to your clients. Because working a 9 to 5 and doing billing and then doing it on the side as a contractor or doing it for your medical billing business is pretty different. At least it was for me. So I've separated some of the services that you can offer in your medical billing business into 3 levels: beginner level, mid-level, and advanced level. If you're interested in finding out what these levels are and seeing if you are ready to start branching out and what services you'll offer to your clients, keep watching. So let's start off with level 1. And the first 3 under this level are claim submission, payment posting for the insurance companies, and claims follow-up. So I'm going to give a brief explanation about each duty. I'm not going to go deep into it, but just a brief explanation so you can know what each duty entails. So the first one is claim submission, which is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to send out the claims to the payers, whether that is electronic or by paper. And under that falls claims rejections. So even if you send out a claim, we all know that sometimes it may get rejected, so you may need to resend it. But the only way to know that it was rejected is to look at the rejection reports, whether that is, through your clearinghouse, or if you get a rejection by paper, then you would know that the claim is rejected. So under claim submission, you will be submitting the claims and you will be dealing with claims rejections. Then you have the payment posting, and specifically payment posting for the insurance companies. So after you have sent out the claim, you're hoping to get a payment, or even if you get a remit that doesn't have a payment attached because maybe it has gone to the patient's deductible or something like that, you still get some type of remit or something that lets you know what the status of that claim may be. Under payment posting falls denials, because most of the time you figured out if a claim was denied through the remit of the insurance company. So on that remit that you get will let you know if the claim was paid and it will give you a payment, or it will let you know if the claim was denied and it will give you the remarks to let you know why the claim was denied. And the third one is claim follow-up. So even though you have checked for rejections and you have checked for denials under the other 2 parts, you still have to do claims follow-up, and that you can do through your agent reports. So in your agent reports, you will look to see if you sent out all the claims that you need to. You will look to see if you have gotten any information or status back from claims maybe that you have sent back for an appeal or for a denial. This is basic claim follow-up that you will still have to do just to make sure that all the claims have been processed, all the claims have been paid, and you are making sure that nothing is being missed. Now, the other one is monthly reports, and monthly reports will fall under all levels. I believe it should be under the number 1 basic level, because even if you just do those 3 things, you still need to give your clients reports at the end of the month. Sometimes they have specific reports that they want to know about, maybe how many specific procedures they do and how much claims you sent out and all of that stuff. But then there are standard ones that maybe you might send them an AR report showing them how much is outstanding, or a total revenue report to show them how much money you collected for the month. Certain reports providers want, and in each level you should provide them with monthly reports. Also, you need to know that some providers may want you to do some of these things and not others. So let's say a provider asks you to just post insurance payments. This will fall under level 1, but it's basically like maybe a project, or it could possibly be all that you do. You might not send out the claims, you might not follow up on the claims. You may just be the one that posts the payments for the claims. Now, I don't necessarily like to do them separately. If I am the one sending out the claims, I would like to be the one entering in the insurance payments and following up on them to make sure that they're paid all the way to the end. But you may want to offer your client bits and pieces, like they can put together what they want you to do and what they want to do themselves. Now, some providers may do certain parts, especially smaller providers. They may do certain things, like they may decide they want to be the ones to send out the claims, or they may be the ones to do other things that we'll talk about later, like pre-authorizations and maybe even payment posting for the insurances. But what I have realized is that they do it, but sometimes they do it only to an extent. If everything is okay and they can get, the claim sent out without a problem, then they're fine with that. But the minute there becomes an issue, maybe they have to dig a little deeper, maybe they have to, work a little harder to get the claim sent out or the payment posted, or maybe they don't have time to post payments. They slack off on these duties and they don't seem to understand the importance of actually doing it. That's why sometimes when providers have a front desk person, or maybe the office manager, or maybe even the bookkeeper doing these duties of a biller, and they don't understand the importance of it, things get left behind. They start to get backed up, and claims aren't paid, denials aren't followed through on, because they don't realize the importance of following through on all of the steps in the medical billing process. Now, remember, you can take my quiz. It'll be linked below. I have 2 quizzes. One that will find out if you are ready to start a career as a medical biller, and the second one is to see if you are ready to start your medical billing business. They are free and it will take, a minute or 2, so make sure you check that out. Now, some of the duties that I might put under level 2 is patient statements, patient payment posting, and pre-authorization. So after you have mastered the first level of all the claim submissions and all of those things, then you can probably start adding on patient payment posting. Now, I put this in level 2 because sometimes, for the most part, the provider's office is the ones who post the patient payments. So when a patient comes in the day of, they make a payment, they post that payment. Or if a patient pays, they may send it to the office or to an office mailbox or pay online or whatever, and they make it to the provider. So you may not have to deal with that portion of it. They may be dealing with that themselves. There are some providers who don't like to pay the billing company for posting patient payments, because for the most part, they kind of deal with all of that when the patient is there. Remember, you are not in the office, so you're not like doing it one time. And so they sometimes feel like, well, why am I paying you for that? So I put that as a level 2 because you don't always have to do that, and they can actually do that themselves if they really want to. And then that also falls under patient statements, because when they have posted the payments, or you have posted the payments, and then you have your insurance payment, and then there's still an outstanding balance, then you have to send out a patient statement. Now, patient statements are not necessarily hard to do, but they take a little bit of more effort. You have to make sure you stay up on them, send them out consistently. You might have to have patients calling you if they have questions, especially if the provider's office don't know how to answer those questions and they're relying on you to answer those questions. So it will take a little bit more effort sometimes, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job yourself, so you can't answer these questions during the day, like in a normal situation. So that would be my level 2. And also, pre-authorizations fall under level 2, because you can do pre-authorizations for a provider as a biller. It depends on how many pre-authorizations they need, how soon they need them. Again, if you are working a 9-to-5, you may not be able to do a pre-authorization now. So you have to see if that's a service that you want to provide from them up front. You got to see how much time you have, how often they'll need it, and all of those things. Pre-authorizations are also something that the provider can do, so they don't necessarily need you to do that pre-authorizations. As for me, I don't do pre-authorizations. That is not a service that I provide, and when they ask, I let them know I don't provide that service. And then level 3 is coding, credentialing and contracting, and eligibility and verification. So coding, which we all know what coding is if you're a biller, sometimes the providers automatically think that as a biller, you will code. So when you are setting up your contract, you need to make sure that that is in place. If you do choose to code for a provider, again, you need to make sure that you have the time to do that. Because unlike billing, where you are not necessarily, or you're not looking through the notes per se, you're not looking through the notes to make sure that the provider chooses the right code, you're not doing any of that. If you offer coding in your services, it's going to take more time than just doing the billing services. So that definitely will be under a level 3. Now remember, if you think I missed anything, or if you think the levels should be different, or the duties under the levels should be different, then comment below. Let me know what you think. But this is my opinion. Credentialing and contracting is under level 3 for me, because it takes, it's not necessarily that it's harder, but again, it takes a little bit more time and effort. Now, credentialing and contracting are 2 different things, and that will probably be in one of my Did You Know series. But if you decide to take on credentialing and contracting, again, you need to make sure that you have the time to do that, you have the knowledge to do that. Credentialing, I think, personally, is a little bit more easier, or a lot more easier than contracting. When you are negotiating contracts, it becomes more technical. You need to know about fees and how to negotiate and all of those things. So that falls under level 3 for me. And then eligibility and verification, which is not necessarily hard, but I think it is required more. So that will require more time than, let's say, pre-authorizations. If you are in a specialty where, let's say, for pre-authorizations, you only have, 5 pre-authorizations you need to do in a month, or in a week, let's say, not a month, you have in a week, then, you maybe can handle that. So that's why I put that under level 2. If you're billing for a provider who has lots of patients that you need to do eligibility and verification on, or maybe they do a lot of walk-ins and you need to do it right now for now, then that is going to take up a lot of time again. So it's not necessarily that it's hard, but it will take up a lot more time, and you need to know if you can juggle all of that, especially if you have a 9-to-5 yourself. Leave your questions below, share this video and like it, and I'll see you again in my next video.